What's up, Tiger Nation? This is Coach O, and you're listening to Tuff Tiger Talk on the PRO Media Network. Take it away, Big Q.
You're now listening to Tuff Tiger Talk with Big Q and the guys on the Pro Media Network.
What's up, sports world? What's going on? You're now rocking with the Tuff Tiger Talk. That's right, on the PRO Media Network. I'm Big Q chiming with you. And what is the finale show for season 1 of Tuff Tiger Talk? As the LSU Tigers, man, 11 ranked LSU Tigers, 10-3 Tigers, finished the season off in a major capacity, getting a big Fiesta Bowl win over a very quality foe in the Central Florida Knights. Real interesting game, man. If y'all seen this game, y'all were in for a treat. The Tigers came out in this one, man. They were kind of down at first. You know, Joe Burrow had a rough going early on, just to be honest with you, had a rough going on. So I'd like to welcome everybody in the Tuff Tiger Talk, all the new and established listeners to the show. Once again, this is a show dedicated to the true LSU football fan. That's right, Tuff Tiger Talk is your outlet for real talk on the Tigers, man. No fluff, no garbage, real LSU talk. Not a show like this out there right now. So appreciate y'all for coming aboard. At 11th ranked, 11 LSU Tigers took on the 8th ranked Central Florida team. Now, this is a team coming in this game, man, with 25 consecutive wins. They hadn't lost a game since 2016. That's the longest winning streak in college football. I don't know in history, but it's up there. But they didn't lay down easily in this one, and this was a quality win by LSU, 40-32 in the matchup, and Joe Burrow had it rough early on. And we're going to talk about today. We also break the game down. We also have a Coach O, he'll chime in. We have a few other players in the finale that'll chime in. We'll hear from Joe Burrow as well, and a few other players as we'll play that interviews coming up in momentarily. But the reality of this win for LSU was just spectacular. It was spectacular, to say the least, and it was a good win. Burrow got his block knocked off in this game. He threw that pick. The guy blocked him clean. You know, he leaned into him, took him off his feet. Got to get a kid credit, man. He hopped right back up, got back in it, and then another helmet to helmet hit later on. I mean, this was one of the games where he could have got knocked off in this one, but you know, he stood his ground, and I got to give Joe Burrow credit for that, man. Not only did he stand his ground, but he had probably his best game of the season, throwing 4 touchdowns. If we could have got this Joe Burrow against Alabama, this Joe Burrow against Florida, LSU would be playing for a national championship. Let me just say that when the show first started early on in the season, I didn't have any high aspirations for this team. Matter of fact, I picked this team to win 7 or 8 games. That's how low expectations I had of this team. But this was a hearty effort, and LSU turned it up in a major capacities. Question marks on offensive line, question marks at running back, question marks at wide receiver, question marks at quarterback. Question marks turned into a 10-3 football team, eclipsing the Fiesta Bowl win, and a very special recruiting class coming in to mix with some of the talent left over from this year. LSU, let's get this straight. There were only a few games, to be honest with you, maybe 1 game away from playing for a national championship. Had they have not lost against Florida, had they have not lost to Texas A&M in the season finale, and they had, even though, let's say they lost that game to Alabama, if they had beat Florida and Texas A&M, this team could be playing for a national championship. They could have been in the playoff. Now, we all know about the Texas. If you listen to the prior show, the Texas A&M breakdown, it was suspect calls all throughout that game. I believe they didn't want LSU in the discussion. You know, it was just terrible officiating to the point where it was obvious that they were cheating for the other team. I'm going to just say it, and if you watch the game, and if you're not a sucker to believe what the referees are doing, you can clearly see they was trying to help Texas A&M win this game. But that's a moot point. If they had beat Texas A&M and Florida, this team could have well played for a national championship. So a national championship aspirations were within grasp of this team. It wasn't a foregone conclusion. Anyway, getting into today's matchup, Tigers 40-32, big win here, really exciting win. And it was terrific. 32 first downs for LSU versus 17 by Central Florida. And if you look at the third down efficiency, Tigers were 9 of 11 versus 6 of 15 by Central Florida. Total yards 555, which 555 is not a bad number. 250 for Central Florida. Of course, passing, LSU 394 yards, passing the ball 120 for Central Florida. They were on shutdown rushing the ball. Tigers had 161 yards rushing, 130 for Central Florida. LSU, this was a penalty-laden game. According to some of the statistics, it said this was the highest penalized game in Fiesta Bowl history, culminating with 26 penalties, but LSU had 14 of them for 145 yards, 12 for Central Florida for 104, 2 turnovers apiece, 1 fumble and interception on both sides. And what really turned the tide for LSU is they dominated the time of possession, 44-31 versus 15 minutes and 29 seconds. UFC was still able to put up 32 points. All that wasn't offensive. One of them was a defensive touchdown, but still that's impressive to only have the ball for 15 minutes, less than 16 minutes to score 32 points, and LSU held the ball for damn near 45 minutes of this game. That's still an impressive stat. But anyway, before we get to the rest of the game, let's listen to what Coach O and some of the team, like Joe Burrow, had to say about today's big Fiesta Bowl win. Here's the guys.
I want to congratulate the guys to my right, our football team, our coaching staff. This is a tremendous year, and we came out west for a business trip. Also to enjoy it. Our guys were in curfew every night because of the leadership of these guys here. We had good practices, but you know what? I do want to compliment Central Florida. They had an excellent football team. They were well coached. What a heck of a football game. We're glad to be Fiesta Bowl champs. I want to thank the Fiesta Bowl people for the tremendous hospitality, tremendous facilities, one of the best bowls I've ever been to. And, invite us back. We plan to come on back.
We'll now open it for questions again. If you could raise your hand and identify yourself, we'll get a mic to you. We're going to start on the right side, 4th row.
James Moran with Tiger Rag. First for Ed and then for Joe. Just what were your thoughts on the hit in the first quarter after the interception? Do you think it was dirty or should have been a penalty? And just how about the way kind of Joe bounced back from that?
You asking me?
You and then Joe.
Yeah, okay. I thought it was targeting. It looked like targeting. I thought it should have been called targeting.
So the only thing I'm going to say about it is the only reason I didn't get up in 1 second is because I got the wind knocked out of me, and I would have got up immediately if that didn't happen.
But you finished the game.
Question here in the left, 2nd row.
Coach Greg Moore, Arizona Republic, could you compare UCF to some of the other schools you faced this season?
No, they were very talented. I walked out. I was surprised by the size of their football team. Very well coached. It was a battle. They're a good football team, and I can see why they won 25 games in a row. Obviously, well coached, but today we were just a little bit better.
On the right here, 3rd row.
Jacques Doucet, WAFB TV. To coach and the players, you talked about blocking out the noise, and you always had another game to move on to. But now that the season's over, you played 8 ranked opponents. The schedule you played, you're going to win 10 games. You're going to finish in the top 10. You won the Fiesta Bowl. Just recapping, how does that feel to you?
Yeah, I think it's a tremendous feat to the season. I look at the players. I think of the leadership to the right of me here. I think of the great players we have, the great coaches we have, and the LSU tradition. We had a tradition to uphold. I think at the beginning of the season, all this stuff going out there, we blocked out the noise, but it galvanized our football team. I do believe when we look back at this season, we're going to look at some games, at the Florida game and the Texas A&M game, that we should have won. Out of circumstances in the Florida game, we should have controlled that. Circumstances we couldn't control the Texas A&M game, and we should have been 11-1 in some cases going into this football game. I think we're going to learn from that going next year.
Okay, we're going to stay on the left here.
Ed, how much guts do you think your team showed today?
A lot of guts. Grit. I mean, we talk about grit. Jack Marucci is a good friend of mine. We talk about grit all the time. Our guys have grit. They practice with grit. We block out the noise. A lot of adversity. Look at the DBs that we didn't have in the game. Nobody made them blank. There was going to be no excuses. We're going to put 11 men on the field and we fight like tigers. These men to my right and the men in that room and our coaching staff has built something special at LSU.
3rd row on the left.
Coach Eric Newman, Times Media Group. You have a kicker that breaks some great records. What can he teach the guys going forward for your team?
Say it again.
So what can he teach for your future kickers down the line?
Just kick the ball like Cole did. I'll show him the film, and we've got We signed an excellent kicker. I got to give Coach McMahon the credit. He did all the evaluation of Cole, and the first time I saw him kick, I was in camp. So we signed a good kicker. We like him. I think that we're going to continue to go on, but this guy is special. He has some special intangibles about himself. He's a winner. He's going to be a good NFL kicker for a long time.
Left, first row.
Coach, I mean, before the season, the expectations were you guys might win only 7 or 8 games. That's what the supposed experts said.
Yeah.
So what's the message you have after this season and going forward towards next season?
You really want to know? We share the comment in the locker room, and that's how I feel about it. But you know what? Here's the deal. People are going to talk. Let them talk the way they want. We blocked out the noise. Our guys overcame a lot of adversity. We came together. In camp, we thought we had a good football team. We knew we were going to beat Miami deep in our heart. We knew we were going to play well. Went to Auburn, we were a little bit behind. We fought. We played lights out against Georgia. We played some good football this year, and it's a tribute to our football team and our players.
On the right, second row.
Joe, after the hit, what was your mentality throughout those next couple of drives? And it just seems like you're a real motivated player. What were your kind of thoughts going into those drives after that hit?
Score touchdowns, complete passes. I didn't really think about the hit too much after I got up. Hurt for a second, and I got right up and went on to the next play.
On the left, far back riser.
I'd like all 3 players to talk about this and just maybe brag on your teammates a little bit. We can start with you, Joe. Back in the cameras, bud. To your left. Just the toughness. You know, you talk about the hit. Devon says finish the game. Rashad, you guys had 6, I think, defensive linemen today. Just the toughness that this team had, the willingness to finish. I think you guys do, exemplify that. And how much is that expected of one another?
It's very important from leaders to exude toughness throughout the entire game, and it doesn't start during the season. It starts in the weight room in the off season. And if your best leaders aren't your best workers, then you're not going to be a very good football team.
Yeah, I think when you look at it, that's one of our strengths of our team is leaning on each other through tough times. We've been through a lot on and off the field, and it's pretty easy when you got brothers that you love playing with week in and week out to just lean on them. And we don't like to complain too much. It does get tough, but we have each other and keep on pushing.
Yeah, we just came in with the next man up mindset, especially for the defense, because we knew we was going to be missing a lot of key players. I told them it was a great opportunity to make a name for themselves, and I think a lot of people did that. And, we one team, one heartbeat, so we stick together through it all.
Front row here on the left.
Joe, could you just talk about the success of the underneath passing game? It was there all day. And then, Ed, if you could just comment a little bit more on the secondary, given the people that then were ejected in this game.
Yeah, so at the beginning of the game, they were kind of sitting on our short routes, so we had to start throwing it deep. And we hit a couple, and then we got them to back off, so that opened up the underneath game. And, we really had it clicking on all cylinders in the passing game today.
You think about Kerry Vinson, he lost his father the day before we got on the plane, and he came play for his father. You think about grit, you think about toughness that it took for that young man to get on that plane, come to practice every day and not blink. We lost one of our best players in Grant Delbert. Our guys stepped up, Todd Harris, John Battle, Jacoby Stevens. Manny Nettle's out there for the first time at corner. We lost it seemed like our 5th corner we lost. We put Manny in there, and he played very well. You talk about the next man up, 11 man on the field, we fight like Tigers, and they did it.
Second row on the right.
Coach, and I guess the defensive players, did y'all do anything unorthodox at all to kind of cover up those holes in the secondary?
Dave had a great game plan. He worked tirelessly. So did our defensive staff and all of our players. This was a great challenge. We blitzed a lot today. We had a lot of pressure on the quarterback. We play some cover 2 when we need to. He mixed up the coverages. I thought he did a tremendous job calling the game.
As the Tigers, man, one team, one heart beat. They love it all, and that was the 3 players, of course, Joe Burrow, Rashad Lawrence, and Devon White up there, along with Coach Ogeron breaking it down. So some of the individual statistics for the game. Speaking of Joe Burrow, he got a wake-up call in this game. The guy knocked his butt out and then taunted him. And then, of course, later on, he got a helmet-to-helmet. But what it did was just woke Joe Burrow out of the little coma that he had going off the last 3 or 4 games. 21-34 for 394, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception early on. But after that, he became a different person. And we have to give him they gave him the smelling sauce. We got to give him the smelling sauce next year coming into this one. Top running for LSU. They had 161 total yards rushing. A really excellent game for Nick Brissett. Big ups to this kid. He had over 1,000 yards, probably eclipsed 1,000 yards on the year with 29 carries for 117 yards. They had some terrific carries in this game. I mean, Brissett and Carl Edwards, the fresh Prince of Hell, 10 carries for 32 yards. It was just fantastic because, these guys were hard to bring down. They're not the biggest backs in the world, but they have some real tough grit and heart. I got to give it to them. You look at the wide receiver core, which I've been down on this core. They had 21 catches for 394 yards. They had 4 touchdowns today. Jamar Chase came out of nowhere, 6 catches, 93 yards, 1 touchdown. Really showed his speed in this, but I wish he would have had this. Hopefully he brings this around next season. 6 carries, 93 yards, 1 touchdown, averaging about 15.5 yards on the catch. Justin Jefferson, 4 catches, 87 yards, averaged about 22 yards every catch. He had 2 touchdowns. The longest one was a long 33-yard one. And then Derek Dillon, who's a deep threat, 2 catches, 86 yards for a score. He had a 49-yard banger that was real interesting. Steven Sullivan, the big guy, he got going. 3 catches for 76 yards. 3 catches, 25 yards for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And Foster Moreau had 2 catches for 22 yards. This enough so he was able to retrieve a fumble. Well, not a fumble, but that onside kick that Central Florida could actually have gotten, but he was slick enough to get on top of it. In this game, they had a lot of guys that wasn't in this game that didn't play in this game. Of course, Greedy Williams sat out because he's looking at coming up his NFL prospects. He's coming up. Devon White decided to play in the game for his final year, and I think he's trying to set the trend that, listen, even if you have NFL prospects, we want to finish on a good note. Why? Do all that work and get up to the final game and not want to play. Defensively, Devon White didn't lead the team, but he was up there. He finished with 8 tackles on the season, 1 pass defense. He finished the game that way. Top man was Patrick Queen. He had 9 total tackles. He had a sack, 2 tackles for a loss in the game. Jacoby Stevens had a pretty good game, 6 total tackles. He had half a sack. And the 1 pass defense, Rashad Lewis, played really well. This is a defensive tackle, came on really good for the Tigers in a year. He was stiff, and this guy Lawrence don't really get the credit he deserves. He's been a solid defensive interior lineman all season long. He finished the game, 5 tackles, 2 sacks on the game for him. He had 4 tackles for a loss, had a really good game for LSU Tigers. Then behind him, Jacoby Phillips with 4 tackles. Michael Divinity Jr., who went down with injury, he had 3 tackles. Glenn Logan, 3 tackles. John Battle had 2 and 1 pass defense. And then Grant Delpit, Kerry Vincent Jr., Todd Harris Jr., Racy McMath, Ray Thornton, Tyler Shelvin, and Manny Netherly all had a tackle apiece. Now, the really silly part of the game was, of course, when Grant Delpit was thrown out for what they said a helmet-to-helmet hit. This helmet-to-helmet stuff, man, is any college game is really ridiculous. It's getting to the point where they're going to have to go back over this rule and do like a 1 and 2 like they did the flagrant 1 and flagrant 2. It's just stupid because most of this stuff is not malicious. It just happens. It's what they consider it as bang bang plays when it's just a hit. We have to go over that rule and redo this whole rule, and I think they'll do it coming up this upcoming off season for college because that's something that has to be addressed. Not every helmet to helmet is one that warrants an ejection, But anyway, that's pretty much what happened at LSU Tigers versus what they did with the other team. You're looking at what CF did, the Central Florida Knights did. Daryl Mack was their top quarterback, 11 out of 30 for 97 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. This guy ain't even eclipsed 100 yards. So, even though they didn't have a lot of their cornerbacks and defensive backs in this game for the LSU Tigers, they still was able to stop this quarterback for throwing 100 yards. And then they even picked them off. They run, and they did. Now, Central Florida did lean on its running backs. 10 carries for 81 yards for Greg McCree. He was a top guy with 1 touchdown. And, of course, their top receiving threats who led the game was Gabriel Davis, 3 catches, 59 yards. He had a score. Other one was 3 catches for 20 yards by Michael Kubale. But you got to give credit where credit due. LSU Tigers didn't give up in this game. They had a lot of people that were sitting out. A lot of suspect calls, a lot of penalties in this game. But nonetheless, they get a Fiesta Bowl win. You heard the reporter, what he was saying about people saying that this team was only good to 7-8 wins. He obviously talking about us and other people as well, because we were the one that picked the Tigers to win 7-8 games in this year because of all of the question marks surrounding the quarterback position. You had a last-minute transfer that came over. You didn't know what the running back situation looked like, who was going to be the top wide receiver. The offensive line was in shambles, and they were, it was LSU's offense. It wasn't a question of the defense. It was more a question of offense, and the questions were surrounding those units. With all of the movement happening, Will Clapp left and all this other kind of stuff going for Fournette. And this just was one of the things that the team was, not Fournette, but he was gone the year before. We're talking about Geis. So when they moved in, one thing you should know about LSU is there should be no worries whatsoever when it's coming down to the running back position. They always keep for terrific running backs. But the big deal was the quarterback, and Joe Burrow showed, that he could do it. And you heard Coach O speak about the loss to Florida, the loss to Texas A&M. I didn't hear that interview. I never listened to the interviews before I play him. When I play him, I hear him for the first time like you hear him for the first time. So whatever he's saying was news to me. And he's agreeing with what I'm agreeing with, to say that really if LSU had won those games, seriously, and I'm going to say it again, they could have really been in contention for a national title this year. They were really that close, just 2 games away. Anyway, that's going to do it for the season finale episode of Tough Tiger Talk. I appreciate y'all for joining us for the entire season. If you want to go back over and listen to all our previous podcasts covering all of LSU's games this year, you can find us on YouTube or on Spreaker. You can simply put Tough Tiger Talk, STUFF Tiger Talk on YouTube, and then subscribe. Hit the notification bells for future shows, because of course we're going to bring you some future Tough Tiger Talk episodes coming. As you know, there's a terrific class coming in. We're going to have all the latest LSU news. So subscribe to our social media feed. Links in the description section below. Join and subscribe. Share us on your social media, wherever you socialize at, whether it's Reddit, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, wherever you go. Take the Tough Tiger Talk with them. And if you got friends and family members, co-workers that are Tiger fans, put them on the show. We definitely appreciate it. Also subscribe, like I said, to our social media. You can help us out by subscribing, going to www.patreon.com/the PRO Media Network. Make a donation to empower the show, and also you can support our sponsors. Those links in the section below. So from us here at the Tough Tiger Talk, I'm Big Q. Thank you for joining us for the entire season. Stay tuned for season 2 of Tough Tiger Talk coming up soon. Thank you and peace. Go Tigers.
You're now listening to Tough Tiger Talk with Big Q and the guys on the Pro Media Network.
Go to newfrog.com for all of your electronic gadget needs. Fast becoming #1 online seller of cell phone and accessories, consumer electronics, automobiles and motorcycles, home and garden items, 5D diamond painting crafts, electrical and tool supplies, computer and networking supplies, lights and lighting supplies, sports and travel items, toys and hobby supplies, apparel and accessory, mother and kid items, health and beauty items, and much, much more. Newfrog.com has up to 70% off on some products. And you can check out their weekly promotions for all the best deals. Remember, when thinking online electronics and gadgets, think New Frog. Newfrog.com. Check the link in the description section below.
Are you a Pelicans fan? Check out the Pelican postgame report on the PRO Media Network.
Do you need a domain name? How about a host for your website that can work with WordPress? Try Namecheap.com. They make registering, hosting, and managing domain names for yourself or others easy and affordable because of the internet needs people. Namecheap is an ICANN accredited domain register and technology company founded in 2000. It's one of the fastest growing American companies according to the 2018 Inc. 5000. Celebrating nearly 2 decades of providing unparalleled levels of service, security, and support. Namecheap has been steadfast and customer satisfaction with over 10 million domains under management. Namecheap is among the top domain registers and web providers in the world. They offer a full selection of popular and unique domains along with fully featured hosting packages, SSL security certificates, WhoisGuard privacy protections, and more, all at the lowest prices in the industry. So if you need a domain name or hosting or anything else, think Namecheap.com. That's right, Namecheap.com. Check the description section below for link.
Hello, Tiger fanatics. Are you ready for some football? If so, you need to head over to Fanatics. Click the link in the description section below and head over to get great deals on all LSU Tiger gear right now. Fanatics have all the great selection on everything Tigers. They have ladies and men's and children jerseys, footwear, t-shirts and dresses, golf and sports equipment, hats, pajamas and underwear, lawn and office gear, auto accessories, pet accessories, and much, much more. So if you're a Tiger and you want to show your Tiger spirit, click the link below and head over to Fanatics now to get all the top-notch LSU Tiger gear. And for 24 hours only, shipping will be free on all orders over just $29. Head over now and click the link in the description section below and be ready in style. Go Tigers.